But anyways, let's see how this gets up and moves. Nine speeds responsive. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we'll be reviewing a 2022 Mercedes-Benz GLE 350. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Mercedes-Benz of Farmington for giving me some time with this GLE 350. Check out the inventory in the description down below. A really cool thing about the Mercedes-Benz of Farmington is they are a one-price store, so you're not going to have to deal with haggling back and forth like you'll have to deal with other Mercedes stores, so definitely check them out. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into the review. So under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 19 around town and then 26 on the highway, with power outputs being 255 horsepower and then 273 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go to the front end of the GLE 350. So first off, we have the Mercedes-Benz logo up top and then just down below. You can see we've got these sharp body lines here on the hood. The white paint does hide it a little bit. And then coming down below, we've got the LED accent lights with the headlights. Look how bright those lights are. Parking sensors here on the front end, and then notice how it's closed off here, but you still have that same design that the rest of the venting has, so that it all kind of melds together. And then notice down below the giant Mercedes-Benz logo, we've got a camera at the bottom. And then we've got some chrome trim here on the front end to kind of signify it's a luxury vehicle. And overall, it looks great. Now coming on the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 21-inch wheels in the front, and then 315mm tires wrapped around 21-inch wheels in the back. And then going over the wheel design itself, notice we have the silver here on the top, and we've got the dark metallic gray below that. You can see the silver there for the brake rotor. And then here's a quick look at the front suspension there. And then notice here with the fender flare and how that continues all along the side, it's connected to the side steps here, which actually have little grips on it, so that if it's snowy or rainy, right, you're gonna actually be able to get a good grip using these to get in and out. And then also we've got the chrome here on the top of the door handles, and then also with the window trim as well. If I take a few steps back, here's kind of your full side view. You can see now with that wheel design how that pops out quite a bit against the rest of the GLE. Now here's our key fob. We have our lock, unlock, Mercedes logo there on the center, and then we have the opening for the hatch, and then this is to take out the little regular key, right? So in case the vehicle dies. But anyways, opening up the rear here, you guys can see with the GLE you have quite a bit of storage space, and notice we have a cargo cover here in the back. First aid kit, I feel like that's like a luxury car automaker thing, is they always put first aid kits in their cars, which is practical, right? And then notice we have a spare tire underneath. And then you can see the plaques here on either side. But yeah, definitely a spacious vehicle, that's for sure. And then when you're all done, you can lock it, or you can just press this, and then that will lower it down for you. Now finishing things up with the rest of the rear, you guys can see here with the rails there at the top. And then notice we have our GLE 350 badge. You got the 4Matic badge on the other side with the Mercedes logo on the center. And then I've always been a fan of the taillights here on the GLE. I just think they look pretty intricate. And then notice here with the parking sensors at the bottom, and then notice we've got that silver trim down below, and then more at the bottom. And then you can see the coverings there for the exhaust tips, receiver hitch here on top of that, and that's all for the rear. Now here is the door panel in the rear. You guys can see the leather trim here at the top, and then notice the stitching that goes all throughout. And then we've got some wood trim here that goes into one of the speakers of the Burmester sound system, and then more leather trim down below. And then here's our window control. Notice it says Mercedes-Benz. And then here are the seats. So again, full leather seats here. You can see the stitching that goes across there, and definitely has a nice smell to it. Now you guys can't smell through the video, but I've got to mention it. And then here's the side of the seat. And again, you got those little side steps, but I'm tall enough that I can just kind of jump over. And then here's legroom. And then you guys can see headroom. And then notice here with the little storage net, we've got some vents back here, and you can see all the charging ports down below. And we have our armrest cup holder situation, but let's head to the front. Here's the front door panel. You guys can see again with the leather trim, and then we've got all of our seat adjustments right here. We've got 3 different settings for the memory seats. Again, look at all that wood trim. Heated and cooled seats for the front. And then notice here with the speaker for the Burmester sound system. The mirrors have blind spot monitoring. All of the window controls here off to the side. And then you have that opening there for the rear hatch. And then you guys can see again with the step here another Mercedes-Benz logo. And if you guys are wondering here, from a practical standpoint, 977 pounds of payload capacity. And then here are the seats at the front. So notice perforated here in the center portion. That's to allow for that ventilated function. And look at padding on these seats, absolutely fantastic. And then you got your lumbar support right there. Pedals down below. We have all of our light controls right here, and then we've got the wood trim, and then notice here with the leather and stitching on the dash, and then down below, and then notice our steering wheel adjustment right here. And got to talk about the passenger side. As you can see, we've got heated, cooled seats over there. We've got our seat adjustments. We don't have memory seats though, but they still have power seats, which is nice. And notice there's not as many adjustments on the passenger side as there is on the driver's side. But let's pop in. So here is the steering wheel. We've got nice leather trim all around, and then you can see the stitching there at the center portion. We've got some controls here for the center infotainment system, and then volume controls, phone controls as well. And then we have our cruise control here on the other side. It does have adaptive cruise control, and then these are controls for the center stack. Got those paddle shifters there on the back, and then we have our Mercedes-Benz column shifter, which is the best column shifter in the car industry. I can confidently say that. And then you've got your turn signal windshield wiper stock, and there's the steering wheel. So here is the center gauge cluster. It looks absolutely fantastic. Just has that cool digital modern appearance. Now, here in the center portion, notice I can scroll through some different menus, see different bits of info on the vehicle, and I can also change like the display. So for example, we can pop it into sport display if we want, so that it kind of changes the appearance. I think it's cool just how much you can customize, but I can actually go into the individual gauges, and notice I can change what the actual gauge shows as well. And then notice I can go to the other side and do the same exact thing. So I don't know, I just think it's really cool how customizable this whole gauge cluster is, and that's one of the benefits to doing a digital gauge cluster like what this has. Now here's the center infotainment system. It's actually connected. Now this is not a touchscreen, but the center infotainment system is a touchscreen. Isn't that magic? It's like all in the same unit, but somehow that's not touch, but that is, right? Anyways, response time when you use the touchscreen function is fantastic. Notice that we have kind of like a doubling of controls, because these are all the menus that you can scroll through in the center. So for example, I can go to comfort, and notice how I can adjust things with the seats, which is definitely cool. And we've got ambient lighting as well, so I can go in and customize the color. Now, if you don't want to use a touchscreen for some reason, they have a touch pad that you can use as well. It's kind of like a mouse pad. If you guys have ever used a laptop, right, then you will kind of understand the functionality on this, and it'll feel very just normal to you from a use perspective. But overall, great system, easy to use. And then we've got to go over the camera system. So notice we've got the backup camera, we've got trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, you've got the bird's eye view as well, and then you have all these different camera viewpoints that you can see out of the GLE. So from a camera system perspective, it is absolutely covered. We've got more wood trim down here, and then look at the vents there in the center portion. And then we've got nice leather here on the dash as well. And then we have our climate controls down below, so you don't have to go into an infotainment screen menu to adjust the climate, which is definitely nice. And notice we've got this little tab here that you can pull to cover up this little storage space area, some cup holders, USBs, all that. And then we have our wrist rest, and this is the pad to control the infotainment system if you don't want to use the touchscreen function. And then this side is like infotainment system controls, and then this is like vehicle controls, kind of. You got stuff like the camera system. The big thing is the drive mode select. So we do have some different drive modes. Notice we've got an individual, sport, comfort, and eco that you can scroll through. And then we have an off-road mode as well. And notice it'll tell you what changes in these different drive modes. So, oh, and individual. So we got a bunch of different drive modes, but anyways, you guys get the point. So here's the center console. Notice all of the leather trim here, and we've got these grab handles on the side as well. But opening that up, you can see the storage space within, which is solid. And I like how the stitching connects in a line. And then we have our glove box right here. And just notice how everything kind of connects here with the wood trim and all that, so it all just flows together. And then popping up top, we do have a panoramic sunroof here at the top. Got the control for the sunroof right there, and you can see the mirror here, and that's all. So here's our window sticker for this GLE 350. So first off, you guys can see the standard equipment that comes with this, but we're not going to spend too much time on that. We're going to focus here on the options. So this one doesn't have a wireless phone charger, so you have a $200 credit for that, and that's pretty typical in today's market because of supply chain issues, so just kind of understand that. But Notice these 21-inch wheels, $19.50 for that option. And the driver's assist package, that's actually a pretty good deal for that driver's assist package. Some manufacturers, like luxury manufacturers, will charge way more than $19.50 for that kind of tech. But anyways, $68,570 is the total MSRP. Let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility of the hood, both of the mirrors, which, like I said, do have blind spot monitoring, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. So we are setting off here in the GLE 350, and this is actually the first time that I've ever driven this version of the GLE. I've pretty much only driven the AMGs, which, yeah, I know I'm spoiled because of that. But I want to see what the regular GLE drives like, because this is the version of the GLE that most people are going to purchase. So first off, seat comfort is amazing. That's something that Mercedes-Benz has just absolutely perfected. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, an entry-level package or if it's a crazy fully loaded AMG, right? Seat comfort's great all across the lineup, which I think is just awesome. This grab handle is actually like kind of it's interesting. It's like you know, it's weird that it's there, but at the same time it kind of like makes sense. I don't know, it's like sometimes when you're driving, right, you know, obviously you're supposed to have both hands on the steering wheel, but if for some reason you didn't want to have both hands on the steering wheel, you just kind of like rest your hand on it, and it just like I said, it just kind of makes sense. Other stuff here with the interior, like I said, I really like the overall design of this interior. I think Mercedes-Benz has done a really good job with modernizing their interiors, right? But then still making them look beautiful. Some manufacturers will kind of, I think good examples like Tesla will kind of do these like luxury-like materials, but then their interior doesn't have like a luxury appearance. It's just like giant tablet plopped into the middle, and then here's some leather, and that's it. Whereas this, like everything, it flows together. You got the screen here in the center, and you got vents on either side, and it actually looks like it's a part of the dash. So I think that Mercedes did a great job with that. And I'm gonna actually get up and do a little bit of driving here now, finally. Now, I was, you know, kind of doing a little bit of research on this, and then I will be reviewing the 450 as well. But, you know, some people said that they don't feel like this is powerful enough, and so I definitely want to focus on that a little bit later in this review, right, to show you guys, hey, this is more than enough power, or hey, this isn't enough power. But I love this feeling of the steering wheel. This is so comfortable. That's another thing that Mercedes is really good at. Just building cars have really comfortable suspension, like just smooth. We're not going at super high speeds, but you know, I'm not hearing any wind buffeting right now. Which, you know, if a vehicle is going to have crazy wind buffeting at higher speeds, you usually start to hear it at around, you know, 40-ish miles an hour, where it starts to just pick up a little bit. I guess we'll see maneuverability here. We'll also pop it into the sport mode. This is where we do our little turnaround here for the test drive. Braking's great. Pop it into the manual mode with the paddles. 9-speed's really responsive. Good thing I'm not driving anything giant today, because there's a person right there in the middle of the lane, and that would have not been fun to have to try to move her by if I was in like a Sprinter or something like that. But anyways, let's see how this gets up and moves. Nine speed's responsive. And this actually moves. It's quick. Okay, so continuing along, let's kind of get into summing things up. And oh, I thought I was going to get to this green light, but we're not. We're going to have to wait a little bit. So I guess to fully sum things up here with the GLE 350, acceleration is more than adequate with the GLE. And so, yeah, I mean, even with this turbocharged 4-cylinder, I think it does a great job. I'll be driving the 450 after this and see if my opinion changes. But I feel like this is adequate from a power perspective. Low end torque is great. And then in terms of just the rest of the vehicle, like I said, it's comfortable. The interior is just very well laid out, and I think they've just done a good job with just making this a nice, comfortable luxury car. So that's definitely just a big plus. And so I'm trying to think of anything that I could knock this for. I guess the one thing that maybe, like I said, once I drive the 450s, maybe this won't feel powerful enough. You know, once you experience a more powerful version of an SUV, you're like, I can never go back down. But I just think that, like, for daily driver use around town, it's peppy. And I think, like, on the interstate, you know, honestly, at this point, I've driven so many cars, as long as you have like at least like 200 and, you know, mid 200s for the horsepower, then it's more than enough where you have decent passing power. If you need to get past someone, you can. And this obviously has that. So yeah, that's the GLE 350. Let me know what you guys think. That's gonna sum things up for our video on this 2022 Mercedes-Benz GLE 350. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Mercedes-Benz of Farmington for giving me some time with this GLE. Check the inventory in the description down below. I'll see all of you in the next video.